in every jurisdiction now, that industrial manslaughter offence protects not just workers but members of the public exposed to risks from conduct within a business and at a workplace. And that's why I say it certainly can't be ruled out.
An investigation is underway and much detail needs to be confirmed. But on what we know now, is it possible that Optus could face industrial manslaughter charges as a result of last week's outage?
As you say, it's very early days, and safety regulators across different states who will be sitting deciding whether to investigate, and if so, what they investigate, still have some work to do. But what I can say from what's known about it already is that one couldn't rule out that charges in the safety regimes could follow from an incident like this.
I appreciate the laws will differ between the states and territories, but is the charge of industrial manslaughter now in place across the country? And as far as companies' safety obligations go, could it indeed pertain to customers in addition to a company's own workers?
Yes, that's right. In every jurisdiction now, that industrial manslaughter offence protects not just workers but members of the public exposed to risks from conduct within a business and at a workplace. And that's why I say it certainly can't be ruled out. Anytime I think you have an interplay between a fatality and the conduct of a business, and we're seeing that here in a little bit of a novel setting, it has to be that industrial manslaughter is something that regulators need to think about.
We lead news bulletins with stories of corporate wrongdoing attracting enormous fines. But how high is the bar for individuals to be held personally liable?
For individuals to be liable, as you noted, the laws vary across the different jurisdictions in Australia, but it requires proof of gross negligence or of recklessness. And what we've seen in case law in the last 5 or so years is that those are high bars, but they're not insurmountable bars. And where that bar can be met, again, as you note, the penalties are significant, starting at 20 years and ranging up to life imprisonment in some jurisdictions.
You talk to boards about potential liability for workplace health and safety offences. What's your view on whether companies generally are aware of how far their duty of care extends?
In my experience advising boards and leadership teams, certainly it's the case with the enactment of industrial manslaughter around the country that business knows more and more about compliance with work health safety legislation and obligations under that legislation than ever before. But of course they have a range of competing priorities. Safety is not their only priority, and my experience is that business has still got some way to go, particularly when we're talking about safety offences and industrial manslaughter in what once would have been a novel context, like the Optus outage. I think without singling them out, it's safe to say that whilst there's been an improvement, there's still more room for business to improve.
Do you have any other comments on just how business could improve in that respect?
What we commonly see post-incident is leaders talking about a gap in systems or talking about a failure of their people to comply with systems. So when we're looking at the officer duty, that duty held by leaders at the executive and non-executive level, classically what we're seeing are gaps in assurance, not getting the data they need, on occasions not responding to the data that they're being given, and even if the response is appropriate, not doing everything they can to verify by their people compliance with these very important obligations.
High-profile prosecutions no doubt raise awareness further. Do you have a view on whether the penalties as they currently stand are an effective deterrent to cutting corners which may allow tragic failures to take place?
Certainly in terms of the maximum, yes, I think that they are a sufficient deterrent. Where deterrence is sometimes let down is a failure of regulators to prosecute in circumstances where I think the public as a whole expect they take action. What we know is that deterrence wanes over time if this legislation is not used. So that in terms of deterrence is the challenge, but by reference to the maximums, yes, it gets not much more serious than the current maximums.
Okay, Aaron Guilfoyle, thank you.
My pleasure.